Right out of the gate today, we are diving into an incredibly intense, radical new framework by researcher Amir Ardalan. It's called the Five Windows Perspective. And look, this isn't just another dry historical theory. Think of it more like a surgical tool, a literal survival manual designed for civilizational meaning in the modern era. Ardalan's goal here isn't to just read history, it's to reverse engineer it.
But to really grasp the gravity of this framework, we have to understand exactly where the author is coming from. Ardalan is writing from a highly charged, incredibly tense environment, Tehran in the year 2026. He describes a city that is caught right in the crossfire, basically suffocating between foreign bombardment on one side and internal suppression on the other. It's a stark, high-stakes backdrop, and he argues it absolutely demands a brand new approach to societal survival.
So in this high-pressure environment, Ardalan identifies a core systemic problem, which he calls the betrayal of language. Profound, foundational words, think justice, freedom, or property, they've been entirely hollowed out. He terms this phenomenon functional drudge, which essentially translates to functional lies. These concepts aren't solving societal problems anymore. They've just become these empty, weaponized rituals used to maintain the status quo. And when faced with this massive crisis of meaning, societies naturally try to look back at their heritage, right? But Ardalan notes we usually fall into one of two traps. On one side, you have nostalgic worship, treating the past like this sacred, dusty museum that you can't touch. On the other side is utter rejection, just throwing away thousands of years of human experience because you dismiss it all as superstition. Both of these approaches, they leave us completely empty-handed.
This brings us to Section 1, the scalpel, or rational functional reconstruction.
To avoid those two failed traps, Ardalan introduces a third way. Drawing heavily on philosophers like Rudolf Carnap and Jürgen Habermas, this methodology acts exactly like a scalpel. We are not reading old texts for their beautiful poetry here. We are reverse engineering them to uncover the deep, hidden structures of social coordination. It's about treating ancient myths as a reservoir of encoded social algorithms that are just waiting to be decoded.
He calls this analytical operator the five windows. It's a very strict, sequential, five-step process designed specifically to bypass all that decorative language and extract actionable, functional code for today. Let's walk through exactly how this works.
Window 1 is the root. This is where we grab the scalpel and strip away all the romantic, modern interpretations. We want to go straight down to the bare, original textual foundation. For Ardalan, this means looking at ancient writings, like the Avesta, to find the raw data of a concept before thousands of years of historical baggage were dumped on top of it. Then we move to window 2, the function. With that raw text in hand, we ask a very specific question. What historical problem, what social friction, or what environmental crisis was this concept actually invented to solve? We're not looking at these as divine magic. We're viewing them as highly practical tools engineered to keep ancient societies from collapsing. Window 3 is the deviation. This is crucial. This window identifies the exact historical moment when the concept suffered what he calls functional drift. It's the moment a tool originally designed to solve a social problem gets corrupted into a tool for maintaining power. That functional truth decays into functional drudge, morphing from a working, helpful system into just an empty slogan. Next up, window 4, the modern peer. Jumping right back to the present, our goal isn't to find something that merely looks like the ancient concept. We want something that works like it. We are hunting for the concept's structural, high-tech equivalent in today's world. We have to completely ignore visual similarities and focus 100% on structural function. And finally, window 5 is the operation. Having tracked this concept all the way from its ancient root to its modern structural peer, this final step extracts the executive rule. We are pulling out the core design principle. This is the actionable logic you can take today to actually build more resilient modern institutions. Section 2, Myth to Modern Machine. Let's see this in action. To really see how this ancient history translates into high-tech blueprints, let's apply the 5 windows to the ancient Iranian concept of Mithra. Now, through this specific lens, Mithra is absolutely not a mystical god of love. Functionally speaking, it was the ancient guarantee of trust in a decentralized world. Its structural equivalent today is literally identical to blockchain smart contracts. So the operational rule we extract in Window 5 shows us that robust systems must rely on the absolute authenticity and mutual benefit of agreements, not just on sheer coercive power. We're extracting these exact design principles, unbreakable trustless agreements, and using them as a standard to evaluate our modern economic systems.
It's the same story with Varathragna. Traditionally, people view this as an ancient god of victory, or just some battle cry. But functionally, when you push it through the 5 windows, it translates directly to systemic resilience. It's the architectural ability of a decentralized network to withstand, absorb, and adapt to crises. It maps perfectly onto modern decentralized crisis management, rather than just being a military slogan. Moving right along to Section 3, the Asha Gauge.
Now, you might be wondering, how do we know we aren't just building new versions of the functional lie? Well, Ardalan introduces this metric called ASHA as the ultimate gauge of a system's health. It boils down to 3 things: predictability, viability, and synergy. If a system enhances those 3 things and actually reduces friction in society, it has ASHA. If it just creates red tape to protect the elite, it's Druj. It's a lie. This entire process of functional translation is what Ardalan means when he talks about the Persian Renaissance. And he makes it incredibly clear. This is absolutely not a nostalgic return to the past. It's not about rebuilding ancient empires. It's about taking the proven ancient architectural code of civilization and using it to build a better future.
Finally, Section 4, Window 0, the choice. Here's the catch. Before you can even apply those 5 windows, Ardalan argues that every single thinker has to confront Window 0. This demands absolute methodological self-awareness. The researcher has to be entirely transparent about their own context and biases. If you don't do this, you'll just accidentally project today's politics onto ancient texts. You have to firmly know where you stand in history before you start dissecting it.
Operating in the crossfire of history, surrounded by hollow words and failing systems, Ardalan realizes something profound. Truth and order, they aren't guaranteed by the universe. They aren't some cosmic fate that will just magically happen if we wait long enough. They require constant, deliberate, and often painful human action. Truth is a choice.
Ultimately, this whole framework acts as a massive call to action. It's a tool designed to cut straight through the noise of our failing institutions. So as we navigate the crises of our own modern world, the real question is, how will you use this methodology? How are you going to strip away the functional lies in your own life, extract what actually works, and choose functional truth for your own systems?